So the aim of the actual COLA is to allow beneficiaries to tread water in the face of rising prices, and it's calculated by averaging together the CPIW, Consumer Price Index, for the third quarter of the year, and then comparing that figure with the same data last year. The once-a-year inflation adjustment began in 1975 under a formula made into law by Congress, just to help beneficiaries stay afloat of the increasing day-to-day living costs. There are concerns about how it's calculated. For instance, a co-director of Social Security said, as important as Social Security's annual COLAs are, they have not prevented those modest benefits from eroding for many decades. What are your thoughts on this, everybody? Is Joe Biden going to help the American people with a stimulus payment? I definitely hope he does, because something has to be done. More relief is on the way, and that's thanks to President Biden's relief bill. More states are receiving the crisis funds, and new programs are currently being created to help the low income. Millions of Americans are now closer to receiving a new round of relief payments. These checks will be worth anywhere from $250 to $800. And there is some good news. More relief is expected to be sent out. According to a tweet from the Georgia governor, the residents are one step closer to having a little extra money in their pockets. This week, the Georgia House passed the state income tax and proposed another round of $200 and $500 payments. The $1 billion income tax refund comes out of the state budget plan. It provided for a three-tiered structure of refunds payments of up to $500, and that's for married couples filing jointly. And one change with this year's bill is that people who paid the state income tax but are claimed as dependent, like the high school students who work for a job, can qualify for the $250 payment. The proposal still needs to pass in the Georgia Senate and then be signed by the governor to take effect. However, Georgia previously issued tax refund checks, drawing from the state's surplus this year. That billion-dollar measure drew out a $2.2 billion surplus and provided $250 to $500 payments to state taxpayers. Because according to the Associated Press, Georgia ran on a surplus of about $5 billion for the fiscal year that concluded at the end of June. Fearing that revenue would not even tank amid the crisis, the Georgia lawmakers cut 10% from the spending plan while developing a budget for the fiscal year in the summer of 2020, once it became clear that revenue would plummet. The state government then restored hundreds of millions of dollars back into its education budget. However, other agencies across Georgia have continued along with reduced funding, in part creating a surplus. 3 days is the deadline for the New Jersey homeowners to apply for a state program that will earn them up to $1,500. The Affordable New Jersey Communities Act is accepting applications from state homeowners, and it will begin the program very soon. Benefits of this program will be sent to recipients by direct deposit or check, and even a Democratic governor sent a statement. The money goes straight into the people's pockets. Now, New Jersey middle class and employed homeowners, seniors, and renters are going to receive a lot of money. Homeowners who apply to the Anchor program will receive $1,500 if their annual income is $150,000 or less, or $1,000 if their annual income is $150,000 and $250,000. Renters don't even need to get as nearly as much homeowners who request this payment, but they can still request and receive a $450 check and not paid out as long as they make under $150,000. The state homeowners and renters can apply for this program, and payments are not paid out to recipients in the order which they receive. So the South Carolina Department of Revenue said they've also begun issuing individual tax rebates for the eligible people. The amount is just based on tax liability, up to a $800 cap, and according to state officials, tax liability is what's left after subtracting an individual's credits from the individual income tax they owe. We got a ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, SSDI, and of course the fourth stimulus payment that President Biden should be sending out in 2023. A lot of people are saying it's not going to be sent out, but I have sources telling me that they will be sending out stimulus checks in 2023 because anything is possible. We know this for sure because President Biden's done in the past, Democrats have done in the past, and Republicans have also sent out stimulus payments in the past. I think President Biden will do more for the American people. Hopefully, he will. By the way, if you guys are in need of a $60 free Amazon gift card, then watch this video and enter the code at the end of this video because I'll be giving away the code for you to redeem a free $60 Amazon gift card. It's a free Amazon gift card, folks, and you want to be sure to redeem it because it's a free $60 Amazon gift card. Right now, the year is not over yet, and that means President Biden is taking action to pass this bill. There are clear bright spots in the economy for hope in 2023. Hiring remains surprisingly resilient, and the economy added a robust 263,000 jobs already. A lot of jobs being created, and that means more stimulus. Now, this is just above the half-century low that was tied early this year, although major tech and media companies, including Amazon and Twitter, have laid off thousands of workers. Initial jobless claims remain low, and new numbers published this week show for the first time that applications for unemployment benefits edged up at 225,000. That's still low historically and almost exactly where jobless claims were a year ago. Economists have told CNN that there's a reason to be optimistic about the economy, and that it could skirt into a recession. Without mass layoffs, it's unlikely consumers will stop spending and the economy suffer a downturn. The cost of living is just still way too high. We all agree on that, everybody. You guys agree with that the cost of living is too high? If you do, tell me in the comments, because the rate of inflation appears to have peaked. Consumer prices soared by 7% over a year in November. At almost any other point in the past 40 years, that would be very high. But this marked the 5th straight month of improvement and a significant cool down from 9% in June. It's also the lowest annual inflation rate in nearly a year. After spiking $5 a gallon for the first time ever in June, gas prices have plunged again, and the national average for regular gas recently declined to $3.10 a gallon. That's an 18-month low. By the way, how you guys doing on gas? Do you think President Biden should do better on this and lower the gas prices? Is it still too expensive for you guys? Tell me in the comments. And continue watching because gas prices are expected to climb again this spring and summer. For now at least, experts are now forecasting a return to $5 a gallon. For much of the past year, wages have been hot inflation, but that means stimulus checks should be sent out faster, right? The Fed's warning of inflation, and it's the reason the risk of a recession is significant. Central bank is effectively slamming the brakes on the economy. The spike in borrowing costs has already set off a deep slump in the housing market, and the fears that the Fed will eventually overdo it, raising interest rates so high and keeping them there for so long that it causes a recession. Fed officials have even signaled that they could be ready to pause their inflation-fighting payments and campaign in the late winter or early in the spring. Jerome Powell has made it clear that the Fed isn't even anywhere near ready to hit the economy. So, South Carolina taxpayers are set to receive a rebate worth $800 very soon. All taxpayers who file their tax forms by the October 17th deadline are eligible and should be able to get the stimulus in the next couple of days. She told the Wall Street Journal, "I respect Kirsten Sinema and what her concerns may be, but I think basically our financial situation is getting worse and not better. So we better have a better way of looking at it. So that there are many ways to pay for such ideas that do not include tax rate increases that could hurt small businesses and our economic competitiveness while we continue to emerge from a crisis and economic downturn." Senator Kirsten Sinema's opposition to tax rates have already prompted Democrats to scramble for new ways to finance their plans, and also to expand healthcare, childcare, and education. So far, Manchin has said he backs hiking the corporate tax rate to 25% as part of a future spending bill. So what are your thoughts on this? Will Joe Manchin get it done? And the different changes, demands from both senators underscore the difficulty and tricky path ahead for Democrats trying to move forward with President Biden's spending bill. Manchin has already said that he would like to see changes made to the version of the bill that was passed in the House of Representatives. It's also important to remember, everybody, that lawmakers need all Senate Democrats to support another package to push it through the 50-50 chamber. And the good news, everybody, is that most lawmakers are optimistic about getting the massive spending bill passed this month. That includes President Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and Chuck Schumer. During a recent interview with Politico, the Commerce Secretary said that Joe Manchin is gettable on a revised Build Back Better package and in a key part of President Biden's domestic